Welcome to the Building a Better Budget seminar sponsored by the IBM Southeast Employees Federal Credit Union. This seminar has 4 sections. This is the second section of the Building a Better Budget seminar, Obstacles and Tracking. Please make sure you have both your workbook and your PowerPoint presentation slides to follow along. So one of the obstacles to actually starting a budget a lot of times ends up being the fact that we have unforeseen circumstances that end up causing us to not stick to our budget. One of the things that economists are recommending to help prevent financial turmoil whenever there is an emergency is what's referred to as an emergency fund. And what this is a part of your budget. So as we actually go through and talk about the expenses portion of your budget, you will see that we recommend including an emergency fund as part of your expenses because it's a necessary budget component. It helps you stick to your budget and helps you not reach for those credit cards as often. This does need to be a liquid account. What a liquid account is something that has no tax consequences, no interest penalties, or no fees whenever you need to make a withdrawal. Now, experts say that we need anywhere from 3 to 6 months of essential living expenses. These are simply just items that we need in order to live on a daily basis. So things such as items related to our mortgage or rent, items related to food, not items that may include things such as movies or going out to eat. Each one of the expenses related to an emergency fund need to be calculated on an individual basis because families may have different essential living expenses when you look at one versus another. Just to give you an example, an individual, if they were to establish an individual emergency fund, they would be putting away $1,500 a month, let's say. Over a 3-month period of time, they'd be allocating $4,500 that they would be putting away for that emergency fund. That would help them in the event that they were not able to cover living expenses that could actually reach into the emergency fund. Now, if you're a family, you need to have more than that, probably double. So if we're taking a family, maybe they're putting away $3,000 a month. So you'd be looking at more around the lines of $9,000. But regardless, you definitely need to have an emergency fund as it prevents you from having to reach for your credit cards. One of the other obstacles that people normally encounter is whether they need to repay their debt or start a savings plan. At a credit union, we're going to encourage you to actually do both. For the reason being, it's going to help you start building good habits. It's also going to help you start building better behavior, and it's going to help you make better choices going forward. So we do encourage that in the event you are looking at repaying debt, you go ahead and at the same time start saving for an emergency fund, even if it's only $10 a month, because simply it's a good habit to start. Saving is a great habit. But in addition, you may want to look at saving for retirement long term, which is also a good habit. You may want to look at taking advantage of your company's 401k or 403b plans if you're not taking advantage of them already. These contributions help reduce your taxable income now and help you earn compound dividends for the future. And a lot of times, employers are even matching some of the contributions that you're making to these plans, and so this is actually free money to use as an employee. As you're going through this process, you may also realize that you have goals that you are establishing that may need to become that you may see them as a short-term goal, but perhaps they're actually an intermediate or even a long-term goal. So you may actually be going through your goals and needing to revise your goal charts that we completed in the first section. Regardless, it's very important that you don't reach for your credit cards when you're repaying your debt or starting a savings plan. Again, that emergency fund is going to help you do that. But really, how expensive are credit cards? Just to give you an example, let's say, for instance, I have a credit card, and the balance on that credit card is $2,000. Let's say my interest rate is about 19%, and that's a relatively moderate interest rate. My payment is going to be normally 2% of whatever my minimum balance is on that card. So 2% of that minimum payment, if I go ahead and plug that into my financial calculator that I've gotten either on the ibmsecu.org website or bankrate.com, I will find that it's going to take me 36 years to pay off that credit card. I haven't even been able to use this credit card during that 36-year payment period. But that $2,000 item has ended up costing me $6,200. So this really helps demonstrate why reaching for your credit cards can end up really fouling our budgets going forward, and why it's so important to start paying off credit card debt now. But it's also important for you to start saving now. You definitely want to add savings accounts as a goal if you don't have one already. And the credit union has some great options to helping you start a savings account and finding out which is going to maximize your interest long term. But you want to consider saving as one of your essential expenses. Now, what's the difference between an essential expense and another sort of expense? Essential expenses are items that are going to cause you financial distress or psychological distress if you don't have them. Things such as your home or perhaps your vehicle. A discretionary expense is something that you can really live without. Maybe going to see a movie or maybe buying that new iPod. So you want to always consider paying yourself as an essential expense. Paying yourself, saving money for your future, that should be essential for you. As you're also going through this process, you're going to need to track what money you're spending. And so we want to go ahead and explain to you some ideas that we have around helping you track what you're spending. It's important that you go ahead and write all of your expenditures down, because you need a good starting picture of how much money you're spending now and where you may be able to make adjustments later on. So it's important that you record all amounts. So with every transaction that you do, we ask that you capture the date, you capture the item, capture the cost. Some of the ways that you may be able to help keep track of these involve receipts. You may also be a person that uses checks, and with debit cards you normally get a receipt as well. It's very important, though, that you do go ahead and record your debit card transactions in something like a register in the event that you don't keep those debit card receipts. You'll also want to limit your ATM use. You may ask why. If you think about it, you go take that $20 out of the ATM machine. It may be difficult for you to actually track how you've spent that. So if you limit your ATM use, it's going to help you understand what it is you're spending your money on. But in addition, you're going to be able to avoid a lot of nuisance ATM surcharges. And these are fees that a lot of times, again, we're not keeping in mind that these are expenses to us. So in the event that you are looking for an ATM that will not surcharge you, most financial institutions have this information available on their website or at their branch. At our credit union, we have a very interactive ATM locator guide that can actually even text directions to the nearest ATM that is surcharge-free to you on your mobile phone. But you may even want to limit yourself to maybe only visiting the ATM one time a week. Because a lot of times you may not be thinking about some of these small purchases that maybe go unnoticed. Perhaps you're one of those people that goes and visits the vending machine at your office on a daily basis. If you go ahead and add up, that 50 cents here, that $1.50 here, that can actually end up impacting your budget as well. You may choose to go ahead and use a computer tracking program such as Quicken or Microsoft Money. There are other great programs out there as well. But we encourage you to track where your money goes for a 2 to 4 week period of time. You also want to choose a time that does not involve something like a holiday. So December would be a really bad month to actually do this process. Maybe a month that's more comparable to activity in March or September for you. But this will help get an accurate measurement of what your spending habits are. And we do encourage you to make this actually a family process, because you may not realize how much money your family is actually able to spend as well, or how much they may be taking out of mom's purse. So it's important for you to include them in this process. So now we've gotten to the point where you can actually go ahead and capture all of these in the event you're choosing to go ahead and write these all down via paper. But this is also a great way for you to go ahead and set up your tracking program in the event you're using something like Microsoft Money, or maybe you simply want to create an Excel spreadsheet. I'd like for you to now turn to page 6 on your workbook. What you will see here is a weekly tracking chart. This allows for you to go ahead and total items in categories such as groceries, medical and dental, babysitting, entertainment, and we've even left some other options down there below in the event that we've not captured something that is an expense in your household. But you'll simply go ahead and total your daily expenses in each category for the day, and then go ahead and capture those on the weekly expenses column as well. This helps you get a better understanding of what your tracking expenditures are. This concludes section 2 of the Building a Better Budget seminar.